Peace to the collective. To Mystic here with another video. Today we're going to be discussing money magic. Uh, we're going to break this shit down in a way that you probably never heard it broken down before. So be sure to take your notes. The way that I came about this conversation was um, during the full moon. That was weird. During the full moon, they had released the Epstein videos and the Epstein files and the things of that nature. And so I didn't think nothing of it. I just had requoted it and just shared it. Like maybe I'll look at this. And then yesterday I was doing some driving and something in my mind had already said to just like listen to the whole thing. It was like 2 hours. And I was going to be driving for a minute. So I was like, I'm gonna just listen to this whole thing. But previously to me listening to it, I had woke up and the fact that this book, Money Magic, was just on my desk, like this book had been on a journey. It was in my briefcase forever. And it was just in my briefcase and then I seen it in my briefcase and it just kind of just moseyed on to my desk. And then where it was at on my desk, I like was just sitting there in the morning. So I just got my notebook and I started journaling. I just picked a random page in this book and just started journaling. And it was explaining how money was air and whatever. I was just journaling. Then I read A Course in Miracles, journaled on that. And then I just went out about my day. And then the next thing, I listened to the Jeffrey Epstein tapes where he was being interviewed by Steve Bannon. And it was right in alignment, like exactly in alignment with what I was studying previous in the day. And I felt like that was a spiritual download. And so, y'all know me, whenever I get any type of spiritual downloads, I open up the portal and I share. But I clipped some of the things that he was saying. It's not like I got like 5 clips that I just uploaded to my YouTube to hopefully have more of a seamless show for y'all today and really discuss this because everybody cares about money. Everybody thinks about money. Everybody wants money. Everybody feel like they got money or don't got money, but very few people understand money and the facilitator of money, the bank. So what I'm showing you a diagram of is fractional reserve banking, where the simple example is a bank will get 100,000. So hopefully that looks a little better for y'all. The bank will get 100,000. You'll deposit $100,000 to the bank, and the bank will loan out $90,000 of your money to somebody, to some business, right? That's your money that the bank no longer has, right? And hopefully, that person that the bank loans your money to, that person will pay the bank back. But another thing that the bank does is that the bank does this $90,000 loan with that $100,000 deposit 9 times. Okay. It's called fractionalized reserve banking. And it's like maybe you don't understand what I'm talking about, or this might be complete news to you, but it's a very important thing as to why this system would collapse. And if you working, you got a job, you filing your taxes, you do anything with money, this is important information to know, right? So it's just on my heart and my spirit to share and to explain some of this stuff. So, what is fractional reserve banking? Fractional reserve banking is a system where banks hold only a portion of customer deposits as mandatory reserves, cash or central bank deposits, and lend out the remainder to borrowers, driving economic growth and creating money. So if you deposit $100,000, that bank creates 900,000 more dollars from thin air. This is why we are calling this money magic, because this system, because it's numbers and because we don't understand, is allowed to like exist. It's like it's like the biggest example of being gaslit. And then it's certain people, influencers, celebrities will sit and talk about money as it is some huge goal to accomplish. But in this particular episode, we'll explain that money is not a finite thing. It's purely magic and it's purely air. This is a legal and a foundational practice for modern economy and allows for credit expansion but risk bank runs if the depositors, which are everyday citizens who have bank accounts, to simultaneously withdraw their funds, a scenario partly mitigated by central bank backing. So all banks operate from a central bank, and that central bank operates from a central bank. And so when you begin to look at the world, you must look at the world as the central banks versus everybody, because these are the people that control the monetary system. Your politicians don't know about your monetary system. Your celebrities don't know about your monetary system. Your influencers don't know about the monetary system. Only the banking families know about the monetary system. And these are the true people that run the world. And they run the world purely off of magic, purely off the belief of people in the adherent fear to, if you know this stuff, you generally would just shut the fuck up about it because it would just incite a riot. So the source of the metaphysical breakdown of the Jeffrey interview that he did with Steve Bannon is brought to you via Money Magic. This is an excellent book by W.D. Frater. It's available on Amazon. It's a hard book to read, but the more you read it, the easier it is to understand it. I've been reading this book since 2012, right? So to me, it's like reading a kindergarten book at this point. But at first, it was very difficult to read. Some of the concepts were hard to understand because we are fundamentally taught about money or not taught about money in the wrong way. So today, we're going to be discussing money magic and the system of belief, in the power of the system of belief, and how to do so in your own personal life. The first rule is assuming. The second rule is organizing. And the third rule is already knowing that you're about to do something that's basically impossible. Before we get into money magic as a whole, I like to break it down into parts, because if you don't know, people, I can, with these videos that I'm about to show you, I'm gonna explain to you how this whole shit works on Magic, and you better get on the bandwagon and do it in your own personal life, within your own personal structure, friend group, relationship, now, because this is the time, this is what it is, right? And it goes from the past to where we are at now, right? From finances to banks, even into understanding, overstanding, and understanding AI and what it actually is, right? And so we'll get into all of that in this particular video. So thank y'all for joining me. Make sure you like the video, okay? Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already, right? This is the daily energy reading. The topic of the day is going to be money magic. The source of this information is a book by UD Frater titled Money Magic. And we're just correlating spirit, miracles, and what is happening actually in the world with the releasing of these tapes. And it is some, I dare say, good information in reference to how they truly get down. What you will notice is he is not speaking in a way much different from true occultists and metaphysicians. So when we think about money, you must think of it as a magical apparatus. It is not a physical apparatus, it is a magical apparatus. But first off, what is magic? Magic is to be personally integrated into your everyday routine. So it don't require a change in you or a change in what you're doing or breaking up with somebody or moving to a different country. You can take your reality and integrate slowly but surely magic or magical thought into your life. But once again, what is magic? Magic is doing what seems impossible. So, why is magic personal? Because most people are going to look at the impossible as if it is impossible. And if we both feel like it is impossible or you'll never do it, then guess what? It probably will be impossible. So, assuming comes first, organizing comes second. Because if you can have more than two people imagine something that is impossible, you two can do magic. If you just believe it within yourself, you got to come to the agreement that it's impossible. You got to come to the agreement, there ain't no way in hell I'll be rich, right? It's impossible for me to be rich, but guess what? I'm going to do it anyway. And for most people, being or doing magic is crazy. It's evil, okay? When you think about evil and people that are crucified, 10 times out of 10, they probably did magic. Magic is doing what has never been done before. So you're doing something that is completely out of the blue that the world has never seen. So what these banking families actually did was create a system of fiat currency where money is created out of nothing, giving it to people, not telling them shit about it, and imagining that they're going to create their whole entire legacies off of something that they don't even understand at a basic level. But at the same time, people then will say, well, money is the most important thing to me. That's a form of magic happening in real time. If you don't believe in magic, just look at your bank account. When you reframe reality, you are changing the overall outcomes, and that is magic. You must reframe reality. And most people is going to argue on what reality is or what reality isn't. But if we are going to look at this from an honest point of view, how you frame your reality, people shouldn't, if people argue with you how you frame your reality, then you're going to look at it like, damn, I must be wrong. I must be doing something wrong. But if you looking at reality in a way where you just kind of like dead set on like we're about to do this, and you got like 5 or 6 niggas that's thinking on that same level, or 2 people, or once again just trying to do it by yourself, you will start to see that things will shift in your favor. But it is like probably one of the hardest things to do, because once again, you have to argue with everybody that's going to tell you that how you see things is not the way that you see things. So it's a subtle way of doing magic where you're not just broadcasting like, okay, I see the world like this. No, you're just doing rituals, you're doing different spells, you're in the magical frame, you're setting up your altar, you're just like thinking about things magically. And that's in the realm of air, that's in the realm of mental. And most magic is mental. It's not like physical, because then physically it's like, oh, what are you doing? What are you trying to do? And it's like, I'm walking around with a top hat and I'm trying to create my reality because I'm a magician. And it's like, you just look crazy. But if you're just the same everyday person and you begin to think about doing the impossible from a metaphysical, and when we say metaphysical, one of the biggest things about metaphysical is organizing and communicating on different type of levels where you're attracting people into your life. You're just at the right place at the right time, and you two share ideas, whether you go to the same school together, or you just join the same Facebook group or something like that, and you like everything that they posting and they like everything that you posted. That's metaphysical. It's physical, but the way that y'all connect is meta through the underground networks. So ultimately, you have a higher success rate in magic when you approach your problems as possible. Even though you know that it's impossible to the average person, to yourself is very much possible. Now, this is a mindset. This is required to have like certain levels of scholarly understanding that the average everyday person is just going to look at you like, bro, get out of here with that foolishness, right? But you got to be the individual, or y'all got to be the types of people that say, what if we did create a sigil? What if we did meditate on that sigil? What if we did journal what happened when we meditated on that sigil versus when we didn't meditate on that sigil, and come up with a structure, and then taking that sigil and then 3D printing it, and maybe it has a particular function, and now you have an invention, and now you have a patent, and now you get millions of dollars because some company is utilizing your patent because you and your friend decided to create a sigil together, right? This is magic. Now if you don't decide to create a sigil, all's well that ends well, right? If you don't decide to do a ritual, everything is going to go everything, but it's a certain level of stopping and going against the status quo, that if you can do it and then multiply with other people that's doing it, you probably going to go to jail for life. But in the meantime, in the between time, you can have a lot of fun. But so the interesting thing, when I kind of grabbed the book and I was just kind of scrolling through the book, the thing that I came across was, because it's like a ritual part, and I was like, I don't want to get into the ritual part right now. I want to get more into the knowledge. So we just started talking about the element of air related to money. And when I was reading this for the first time 13 years ago, that was such a profound statement, because I've always attributed money with pentacles and coins and earth. and material resources. But the reality of material resources is that they do not come with a price. They just grow from the earth, right? And then what man does is then cultivates or blocks off said resources or creates a business around said resources. And now we're imagining that land costs money, right? Because the system tells us that the land costs money and we have no choice. So, in reference to the world, in the material world, it's absolutely free, right? When we talk about money, money is actually related to the air element. And at first, I didn't understand, but the more that, like I said, you read this book, it becomes child's play, and it's easy to make the correlation between money and air, and money not being related to earth. So the air element symbolizes intellect, communication, and freedom. When you have money, or you understand how to trade, or you understand how to do the foreign exchange, that requires intellect to some level, right? Money, it allows for all types of ways of communicating and connecting with your community. Like, the best thing in life for a human being is to get a bounty, get a big deer or whatever. The first thing that the ancient man is going to do is share his wealth with his community. This is a mentality, right? Versus, people nowadays, they doing their dirt all by their lonely and they taking care of themselves. But once again, this is due to a misunderstanding of the element in the energy of money. So once again, what does a person say when they have reached a certain level of financial bliss where they can do whatever they want to do? They say, man, I'm free. I'm wealthy, now I'm free. So what I'm here to say is that wealth is a result of a mind, its ideas, and its ability to change, existing as the invisible. But the invisible sustains life and it drives movement, right? So, once again, I'm going to try to break this down in another way. Let's think about circulation. Air circulation in the body involves inhaling oxygen through the mouth and the nose, which travel down the trachea into the lungs, branching into the bronchi and the bronchioles to reach the alveoli. Here, oxygen is exchanged for carbon dioxide in the capillaries, with oxygenated blood then traveling to the heart to be pumped throughout the body. What I've just read in my fifth grade reading level is that in order for us to live, we need to breathe in air, and that air needs to circulate because the air oxygenates the blood, enables the blood to travel to the heart to be pumped throughout the body. If you cut off air from the body ceases to exist. Another thing that is circulated is currency, right? When you say currency is in circulation, this refers to the total value of physical cash currently used in an economy for transactions, excluding amounts held in the central bank vaults. So when you talk about currency, that's the money that people are using. And if you're not using money, there is no sense in actually holding it or storing it, because over time it loses value. We have been raised to what? Save money. Save money is just like saving your breath. I'm trying to save my breath so that I can live longer when I get older. That doesn't make sense. But every time, every nigga in the world, every nigga in the world is trying to save money because we view money as a store value. But really, if you had money, nobody is trying to buy money from you, right? But if that money was transformed into a product, into a good, into a service, into an advertisement, into a promotion, that would allow somebody to want to buy money from you, because money is an energy. What you do with money will sustain and build a business, or will just have you buying a whole bunch of different cars, clothes, and jewelry. And when it's all said and done, and you don't got no money, you got a lot of clothes, cars, and jewelry, then you have to then what? Do what? Sell those cars, clothes, and jewelry. Why? Because money is energy. You could not, whatever you buy, you could have bought a house for $500,000 and you don't got no money. Guess what you're gonna have to do eventually? Sell that fucking house. Why? Because money is energy. You bought the house don't mean shit. The clothes don't mean shit. The cars don't mean shit. Because if it ever meant shit to you, you would keep it. But you don't keep it. You sell it as soon as you need to. But if we don't understand or overstand that, we wouldn't. It's nothing wrong with it. But you buy it to sell it. You buy it. When you get into a business class and they tell you about business plans, the first thing they tell you about a business plan is to write an exit plan. How are you going to get out of this business? Most people don't think like this. They say, oh, I'm going to go open this business. I'm going to pass it down to my family. Well, that's the exit plan, right? Your exit plan is, I'm going to work this business for 10 years. Then my exit is selling it to my son, right? Or whatever it is representing an exit. I'm going to sell it to the highest bidder. But there is nothing in this world that you are going to do forever. Everything requires a level of circulation. Inhale, exhale. You don't hold on to breath. You flow. It is a flow. And money is the same way. But most people are not taught about money or understand money. They're saying, I'm going to save money by putting it in the bank. And the bank is going to take that $10 and turn it into $100. Because the bank is not stupid. The bank is going to utilize ancient principles in reference to manipulation of the matrix by using your mind, numbers, trickery, manipulation. And this is a normal, everyday thing. I'm sure everybody knows or everybody has a bank account, and you would probably be shamed if you didn't have a bank account. But at the end of the day, the way that the bank is handling the money ain't the way that you is not handling the money. And the reality of this thing is that people think that it is too hard to understand or understand what's going on. So therefore they don't. So let's reiterate. Money is a mental energy. What do we mean by that? Meaning that you think or not think about it every day. What I mean by think about it, damn, I wish I had more money. Damn, I need money to pay the bills. Damn, I got enough to do this. Damn, I need to do this, do this, do that. Or not think about it in a way to where, how are you utilizing your money as energy? How are you tripling? How are you 10 timing that dollar that you have in your bank account? Or are you concentrated on spending it? And then the hard part about spending money is when you spend it on things that don't bring you nothing back. That is what you call a consumer. If you are a consumer, you're only thinking about eating. And the only thing that happens to the food after you eat it, you digest it, it comes out of you, is waste. So when you buy something that you consume, right, as a consumer, you buy like a fucking toaster. You know what I'm saying? If it ain't no some shit you got out of Myers or some shit you got out of fucking Walmart, you can't resell that, you know? It's just gonna go in the trash one day. And most money and most shit that people buy, as far as clothes and all that shit, it just goes, it enters into the realm as waste. So money behaves like air, as we explained in reference to the circulation. It circulates, money circulates. And another key point to money is that it only has meaning through exchange. Most people don't understand that. money is only utilized as a form of exchange. If I got $10 in my pocket, that money is utterly useless until I utilize this $10 to buy me a pack of Newport 100s in the box. Oh yeah, and I need a lighter too. Now I could utilize this money as a form of exchange without it. If I had $100, it don't mean shit until I utilize this $100 to exchange it for a bill payment. Keep my lights on. In a minute, they're gonna be charging us for air. I'm gonna put my air in my mama name. Right? Money is only utilized as a form of exchange. Okay. Money can only have a meaning through exchange. It has no meaning in a bank account, it has no meaning in a safe. It's just paper. This is true magic, this is true alchemy. Money is inherently within itself a piece of paper. It is utterly useless, even more so because it is fiat currency. It's created out of thin air. It's numbers on your screen. So money's value can only be expressed only through transactions, right? So the value of money must balance. So you ever notice you buy something or you don't buy something, people draft money out of your account, you call the bank and you dispute the charge. Well, when you dispute the charge, that bank has to contact that previous ledger and tell that accountant, hey, you gotta take those debits away and put it back on this ledger because our budgets must be balanced. A bank have to keep a balanced budget at all times because they stealing everybody's money. At the very least, they can keep track of it. So money's value, it always must equal zero. The only way we know value of any money is through the mode of accounting. And accounting is an invention that's utilizing a double ledger system that if a bank have assets and you have assets, they feel two different ways. You got an asset, you feel good about it. The bank have an asset, that means that the bank is owed money. That's how you keep everything in balance. And if you can keep everything in balance, then you're able to kind of do a whole bunch of trickery and magic on the back end. Not saying anybody should do that, but everybody has a price. Money, 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 money. The etymology of value is a price equal to the intrinsic worth of a thing. So what is the intrinsic worth of anything? That is the price, but the value of things changes with each and every person. So what I'm trying to elucidate is that money is different for every single body. And let me know if y'all can hear this or not.
That monies and currencies were not really well understood. But again, it was only numbers. So numbers, and I'll get to the fact that it was bad thinking. Numbers are very good.
Are most people that you meet, even on Trilateral Commission, when you meet most people, do you find most leaders financially illiterate, economically illiterate?
Most political leaders don't come out of a background of finance. Most political leaders come out of a background of being popular. So in some of the countries, in some of the African countries, for example, they might have been a military person. They were a general. In some of the African countries, they might have been a disc jockey. Or in our country, they would have been an actor. The knowledge of money they don't have an expertise, they have no degrees in finance. They really, and this is one of the major problems, their expertise, if they have any financial knowledge, is of their own checking account. or bank account and filling in their own taxes. So many world leaders who don't really have a financial underpinning make fundamental errors when it comes to money on a country or institutional level. Let me give you an example. If you, Mr. Bannon, if I said your assets increased last year, you'd say, that sounds pretty good. And I'd say, what does that mean to you? You'd say, well, I have more money. I guess I'm wealthier. I'd say, yes. And if your debt increased, would you feel wealthier or poorer? You'd say, well, I don't want to have increased debt. I don't like the idea of that sound, increased debt. Now, that and world leaders understand when their assets go up, they feel better. However, institutions like banks, things that people don't really understand are financial underpinnings of banks. When I say your bank, Mr. Bannon, you have the Bannon Bank, you doubled your assets. Sounds good, but what does it really mean? It means people owe you more money. You don't have any more money. What? Yeah. A bank's assets are how much it is owed by other people. That's crazy. So if the bank goes from $2 billion of assets to $10 billion, it means people owe it an additional $8 billion, but their assets have gone up.
So what I want to highlight and value is that it is a subjective perception. And what is a subjective perception? A subjective perception is the uniquely constructed internal interpretation of sensory stimuli, which is money, that is then filtered through personal experiences, emotions, and beliefs. None of this comes from a deep understanding of the said subject. So when you have a level of value of a certain thing and a price that you would specifically pay, everybody has a particular price that they are willing to pay or be paid. For some people, it's a bag of chips, and for some people, it's $1 million. But it is completely a subjective perception. It is uniquely constructed internally and is interpreted by whatever amount or lack of amount that you've had. So money is a very interesting magical apparatus that one could begin to play with, even like a child. In reference to the things that you wanted, you wasn't necessarily concerned with how your mom or dad got it. You was just concerned with getting it. That is a magical perspective. When you become an adult, you get bogged down by reality, what you can and what you can't do. And when these things begin to happen, you begin to feel these emotions and have these beliefs, and you just persist like life miracles can't happen. Every day your parents fed you and did shit for you, you ain't have to work for it. And I'm not saying that you should grow up and stop working for it and just live, but it is a mentality of it's a form of an assumption, right? You got to be a little crazy in dealing with this level of magic, which is not so crazy. Just think of a person who owns a bank. That's a level of a psychopath, right? That got to be the craziest nigga ever to run and open a bank and know what's going on at an intricate level in detail. And you, the person on the outside of the end, like, let me just deposit this $100 in the bank just so I can have something in my bank account. We on two completely different sides of the spectrum. So let's break this down. A $1 million house is only worth $1 million if you can get somebody to buy it for $1 million. A lot of times people say, oh, this house is valued at, or this house is worth, and people sit and like feel good about it. The next thing you can do is probably leverage it, but at the end of the day, the value of the house can only be validated when somebody is willing to pay the price for it. Before that, it's just conjecture. It's just a bunch of words. It could be in 1974, it was worth 20,000. In 2025, it's worth 500,000 because of inflation and some calculations. It's all made up, guys. And when people is able to put a price on physical things, this is a mental act that people is putting themselves in, because it's also people who fucking can just get into that house because they married the motherfucker and they don't got to pay shit for the house. There's people living for free and people paying top dollar for the same place. There's people in apartment buildings. Your neighbor could be paying $10,000 a month and you could be living free on Section 8 in the same building, doing the same shit. One part, like you could be working at the same job, doing the same thing. This person could be getting paid $25 an hour. You can be getting paid $15 an hour because this person negotiated their pay rate and you didn't negotiate their pay rate, and they substantiated their negotiation with their experience, and they took it and said, take this or leave it. And the job just so happened to take it, because value is completely subjective. Everything can be negotiated at a certain price. I know you've been hanging out with somebody and they go to the store and the price ring and there'll be a certain amount, and the dude will say, all right, let me give you 500 for that. And the store owner will be like, all right, I'll take it. You probably ain't never seen no shit like that in your life, because when you go to the store and the shit say 1,076, you be trying to get the exact change, right? Value is a subjective perception, right? Many homeowners will never know the true value of their home until they sell, fortunately or unfortunately. So let's reiterate, right? Money is only purposeful when it's spent. It's not purposeful when you're saving it, because over time it loses value due to inflation, which comes from a government that prints money and gives it to people that it likes and doesn't give it to people that it don't like. So people can use you as an example to say, I must follow what the government says so I don't be like those people that I don't like. What you don't like about them, that they don't have money, right? How do you get money? Because the government give it to me. I got a loophole. My dad's a lawyer. So many different ways people get money that is not in reference to merit, even though that's what they want you to think. Legal tender allows it to circulate. What does this mean? So the reason why legal tender allows it to circulate, because if I give you some money, if I give you $10, I want to be able to take that $10 and go to any store in the mall and use it, right? If you give me a $10 bill that's not legal tender and I take it into Spencer's to give me a whoopee cushion and they say, this is a Usher dollar, then I would be mad at Usher for throwing out those Usher dollars when the strippers came. Y'all ever heard about that? Usher gave motherfucker, he was just tipping the strippers dollar bills with his face on it. That's why legal tender is important for the strippers, because the stripper want to be able to take every dollar that they get and utilize it to buy whatever they want. Okay. The true value of money then is not in store value. It is what you can exchange for it. This dollar can go to any store and buy anything out of it is the true value of the dollar. Because if you could not do that with the dollar, if you could not do that with your debit card, that debit card is utterly worthless. So one of the things to know, if money is circulating in your life, then the system works. If air is circulating in your body, you are alive. And always remember, money flows just like air flows through the body because money is air. When money is stagnant, when you are not, and you are the initiator to the flow of money. It is in your ability to purchase, right? You can purchase whatever you want to buy. You can purchase Pepsi, or you can go to Costco and get a 12 pack of Pepsi and sell Pepsis at your corner store or at your lemonade stand in front of your house that you turned into a LLC called the lemonade stand, right? And then the money that you spend in building your business allows people to then come spend money with you, and that is the circulation. That is the flow of money. Most people are not really into it.
But what I found was,
And let me know if y'all can hear this or not.
but what I found was most people, be it in business, in normal life, or in the world leaders, don't really understand money. It is something they think about. They have a sense of what it is. They certainly want more of it. But they also make statements like, we want more money, but we don't want more debt, which just shows a misunderstanding of what money at its core really is. So most people don't, they want to make it, they want to save it, but to understand it intimately is not a normal character.
So what's being discussed is financial literacy and the lack of it in most people, as if to say, you know, my easiest example to this would be building a house. I want to build a house. Oh, I want to build a house so bad. And then you just like, all right, what do I got to do to build the house? You just build it with your desires. You build it with your wants. No, you would have to learn how to build a house. And then you could take that literacy that you learned from building a house and then apply it. So when we talk about financial literacy, it's like one of those things that tend to, it's like the lesson that I always receive when I'm having, where I'm thinking like I need more money, or, I'm kind of like feeling a certain type of way about money. And it's like going back into learning about money as opposed to like just wishing that I had more money. It's like I could wish that I had more money, or I can learn about finances as a whole, right? And if you learn about finances as a whole, credit as a whole, and apply basic principles, anybody is for any and everybody. That's the key point to it too. It's not like for reserved for the elites. Anybody can be financial literate. You just have to specifically attempt to learn about it. And part of learning about finances is learning about magic, because money is created out of nothing, right? Your whole thing is learning how to create flow, right? Learning how to create flow, how to create a system of buying and selling that then, allows you flexibility. So when you think about political leaders, when you think about celebrities, when you think about influencers, they're relying on money given to them, whether it be from their subscribers or a check from a corporation, right? Because you get a big check, an athlete get a big check because they play basketball. That because you have a lot of money does not make you financially literate. It might be even the opposite. The more money you are given, the more money you given, I bet you you just become even dumber and more, dulled off by the things that you can buy, right? And if people think the more money I have, the more things that I can buy. But in this particular transactional consumer based thought, you are never really taught about how money works or how to keep money in your situation. So a lot of times people get money and end up bankrupt and end up broke because they forgot one major key to this, which is the circulation or the flow of money. Another key point of financial literacy: success is not financial literacy. Getting a promotion, getting a raise is not meaning that you're becoming more and more financially literate. It just in general. So what you tend to see, right, is people, they get these educational jobs, they get these office jobs, they making, good money. They going straight to them apartments that cost $3,000 a month, right? They going straight to doing all of these particular things, like they get in the fucking car that they got to pay $1,000 a month for. You know what I'm saying? They getting all of the bells, all of the whistles, right? To the point where they say 50% of America is living check to check, because 50% of America is not financially literate in how money actually works in sustaining a healthy ecosystem financially. Even if it's like when you do buy, you buy in bulk, or you like really mitigate your costs. You about to leave? No, I'm just trying to go. Oh damn. So how money really works? Many do not have a clue. Many people do not understand how money truly and really works. And to replace this thought, there is just this thought like, man, I just really need more money. But that's like air. If you are, you know, having trouble, you wouldn't necessarily need more air in a sense of more mass. You would just need to develop a better pattern, or develop a better diet, or exercise more. It's like you wouldn't be like, all right, take me to the place where I can get more air because I'm not able to breathe. And it's like you might be overweight, so you might need to lose weight. So it's like more air, yeah, you might need more air, but you got to correct the system to allow the natural flow to exist. And finances, for most people, of it being a struggle, is because it is a responsibility, and this responsibility will alleviate the struggle, if that makes sense. As I just previously stated, if finances struggle you, if finances are something that bothers you, or finances stress you out, don't just pray and wish for more money. Pray and wish to understand how the system works, so you can, once you begin to understand the system, you can begin to understand how to enter into the system and benefit from said system like everybody else.
Which is called fractionalized banking. And fractionalized banking is something that finance people understand, and the people on the street, and when I say people on the street, that's where I was when I started on Wall Street, would find it impossible to believe. Impossible. Why? Bannon Bank, I give you $1, just one single dollar. In our system of banking, I would say, okay, Steve, I gave you $1. How much can you lend out to your friends? And your natural reaction would be probably something less than $1, because I want to keep something in my pocket. The way our system works is if you as a bank are holding my dollar, you can lend out an additional $8 or $9. No, it's impossible. I only have $1, Jeffrey. We have something called fractionalized reserves, which is if you have 1, you can lend out 9. That's the way our system works. And so not only do world leaders not understand banking, but the man on the street, my father who worked in the park department, it would be beyond his imagination that people could lend out more money than they actually had in their pocket. Next question.
What, how,
This is the biggest example of magic. Magic is hard work in the form of assuming, organizing, and executing said plan. And you talk about fractional reserve banking, right? It's like some real esoteric alchemy, metaphysics, spiritual shit, and your damn grandma is going to the bank every day. One's in the chat. Your fucking mama is going to the bank. Everybody going to the bank doing business with the bank, right? But the bank is operating in real time as master magicians, right? Give us $1 so we can make $9 on a bitch, right? Real hard. You know what I mean? Like pimping. You know what I mean? Like you ain't never seen no pimp shit like this before in your life. Y'all be mad at motherfucking girls on the hostro, but don't bat an eye at Citizens Bank. Nigga, deposit your dollar in this motherfucking bank and give me motherfucking 10, bitch. Put it in my pocket, ho. You know what I'm saying? To the whole fucking world, bro. Every business got a business bank account. If your business make $1 million, the bank make $10 million by nature of having you doing this account. I'm talking about magic, my boy. Every account, every dollar being multiplied. It's so magic that niggas is just oblivious to it. It's like, hood. You're not saying nothing that's real right now. No, I'm talking about shit that you can walk up into any law. It's legal. It's on the books. They got to tell you about it, okay? And when you get your paycheck and you spending it on this, you spend it on that, did you flip that shit into anything? No, I saved a little bit into my bank account so they could do my shit like Young Dolph. Y'all be mad at the crack dealers. The crack dealer got a 50 dub. He turned his 50 into 100. Y'all like, brother, you poison in the streets, brother. Goddamn National City Bank up on this bitch like, I think I'm Big Meech. Larry Hoover. Y'all don't understand, overstand, or understand this shit, man. If you deposit $1, the bank can lend multiples of said dollar. When a bank have assets, that means the bank have loans owed to it. So the bank can quadruple and triple and 10 times its assets by giving out loans off the same dollar. And the ways for which they expand and they grow is by having these accounts where not even a dollar is being paid back, but it is seen as value because everybody have a price. But y'all, I'm telling you, the fact that we don't understand banking is by specific design. Because in order to understand banking, you have to be a high level magician. You have to break the programming that everybody around you have. Everybody you know is going to the damn bank and depositing shit into their bank, getting direct deposits. Cash App doing the shit, Venmo. This is the point of nobody is storing your money and using it as a place, as a vault, nigga. Because money is not a store of value. Money is literally made to be played with. It only has value on the exchange. So that's why they're on the currency exchange. That's why they're dealing with the stocks. because they know that money is not a store value. Money is an opportunity to buy more shit, but you don't have to buy bullshit. You can buy things of value. So if this currency is $1.04 today, and I know they about to fucking nuke it with some bombs, I'm going to buy it, and then two years from now, that $1.04 now $2.04. I done grew my portfolio with the Nvidia chips and the AI and all of this. This is all for people to invest in it so they can grow their portfolio. It's all mental. They never seeing any real money, and they look on their screen, they see their portfolio, and they say, Mr. So-and-so, your portfolio is at $3.7 million. And they stroke their beard, and they feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Still got to pay $400 for some goddamn head. You know what I'm saying? Still got to go to the ATM, get withdraw $400 because Shaniqua is not going to motherfucking do nothing for no stock tips. You know, she want $400, okay? So this is the real cost of life, you know? Fractional banking works because people believe in it and they don't go on a run on the banks. What is a run on a bank or a bank run? This happens when many customers simultaneously withdraw their money from a bank due to fears about its financial health, often triggered by rumors or news, creating a self-fulfilling crisis because banks only hold a fraction of deposits in cash. And this is forcing them to sell assets at a losses to meet demand. And this will cause a bank to collapse. And modern runs can be faster due to online banking. But you know, banks have deposit insurance and things of that nature to make sure people's money is safe. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? That FDIC is on every single bank letting you know that this could collapse at any moment. The reason why they gotta have deposit insurance on your bank account is because you don't know, but they know that money is not there, right? And that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, it make me think. It make you think like, if they don't store money, why do I store money with them? If they're gonna gamble with my money, you know what I'm saying? If I just do it by myself and I go deposit my money, I'm probably cool. But if 1,000 of us decide let's go get our money, you know, we might be fucked. Or the rest of the people who got money in the bank, they can't pay them back. So it's a very, very like it's a serious thing that like people in America, like the Great Depression, the 2008 crisis, with this release of Epstein, I'm pretty sure they're preparing for it because the money not real anyways. You know, everybody got all this money in their bank account, and it only exists because it's in their bank account. The moment that everybody decide that I need this money is important to me, then that's when they'll imagine a million people with nothing. Okay, that's why it's just like it's something to talk about, it's something to think about, but this is actual real life. So why does this feel like magic? It feels like magic because money is created through a system. What is the system? The system is fiat money. Fiat money is a government issued currency not backed by a physical commodity like gold, but rather by the full faith and credit of the issuing authority, which is the AK 47, now the drone attack. Okay. It is a matter of balancing the books, not a matter of having a lot of it to buy things. Like, so money is specifically used to balance the books on somebody's ledger. It's a problem, it's a red line. When you look at your account, that means that somewhere, somehow, this shit needs to come into balance or it's going to be a problem. Now, money is not a matter of having a lot of it so you can buy a lot of things, a lot of property. That is not the purpose or process of money. And so, since most people do not understand these mechanics, it's similar to how we don't understand the full complexity of the human body, but we have a body. We think about our body. We worry about our body. We might exercise. We might drink this or take this or do this, but we don't understand it. We don't know what's going on for real. We just doing what we see some shit on Oprah, right? So the reality is that what we perceive our body to be, whether it is a place for donuts and all types of processed foods, in reference to the reality, which is a structured system that's going to view all of these processed foods as inflammation and going to have us looking crazy, is to be seen. But our perception of things feels exactly like we think it's going to be. But the reality of the said thing is exactly what it is. And we can hope, we could wish, we could understand, overstand, understand, and but if you don't understand that this whole system is completely rigged against you in a space where how are you going to compete with somebody that's taking your dollar and making it 10? And it's banking families, banking institutions, all these particular, how can you actually win against people like that? So at the end of the day, it's either beat them or join them. All right. We get
The
that.
world, North America, Europe, and Japan.
No, many of these world leaders become world leaders because they're popular and they were able to get votes or they were able to convince people to vote for them. I learned later. Um, Many of them were just good at what they did in terms of politics. Remember, world leaders are politicians in general. They're not scientists, they're not intellectuals, they're not great thinkers, they're great politicians.
At the first Trilateral Commission meeting that you remember in Tokyo, in sometime in the early '90s, do you remember what were the big issues of the day that they were talking about, and what did you think about it?
Yeah, in fact, it was funny because they were talking about inflation, and they were worried that what would happen.
So a couple of things. First thing is inflation, which is a system, is a result of the system, right? The value of things has no choice but to diminish as the central banks create more money. And the second thing is politicians are not financial gurus, or even a businessman is not a financial guru as they are an inheritor of wealth, or inheritor of good finances through having a good idea. But when we start to think about business and finances, let's look at it for financial sakes as like basic numbers and basic calculations, and not as a form of a popularity or some form of glamour or some form of influence, or he was able to buy this thing or that thing, because none of these things indicate that they are smart or know about how the world truly works. You, as an individual, could sit in your room and become financially literate in any domain, such as credit, banking, micro banking, micro lending, um, online banking, all of these particular domains that anybody could learn and basically open up a business or open up something that helps out their household or help out their community. Even like having a system of a flow of energy between your children, it will be beneficial. A lot of times, we try to raise our children the best way that we can. But the harsh reality is when we put our children out in this world without any financial literacy, but we give them all these values, we give them all of this character, and then, like, it's a percentage of other children enter into the world with a financial literacy or some type of stable financial net, right? And since we can't give to our children what we don't have, rather, we struggle in that area as a race, as a people, right? So the most important thing for Black people, Black individuals, right? Because you can't do nothing as a group a lot of times because it's a lot of bullshit in that, but it's nothing stopping the individual from learning about finances and executing finances in their everyday life from a metaphysical, spiritual, realistic, business, blah, blah, blah point of view. So, once again, politics is not money magic with these Trump accounts and they giving kids $1,000 and all of this. I mean, do what you do. It's not financial advice, but understand, overstand, and understand that politics is not people that know about money. They know about popularity and getting votes. So every, you accepting that 1,000, you accepting it's like a bribe, right? Inflation is the result of a system. It's not the result of bad or good politics. It's not the result of, being smart or being dumb or having a good system. It is just the result of what is going to happen, right? There'll be $10,000 for a piece of bread in 2000 in fucking 2,972, right? A house will be $78 million, right? Like in Jeffrey Epstein, he said $100 bill in some African countries is worth 1 cent in American value, right? Because inflation is just a part of the game when you have fiat currency. There's a such thing as hyperinflation, but inflation is just the nature of the beast. It's not nothing bad. It's not nothing good until you just either have to understand the system and be compensated accordingly in reference to inflation. You're not going to change inflation. You're not going to quiet it down. It's going to happen, especially since the COVID and the stimulus. The stimulus is trillions of dollars being pumped into the system that, the inflation that we're feeling is what you call hyperinflation to some degree, right? Where a house that was $40,000 in 2019 is $500,000 in 2025. So the only thing is being compensated to equate or to value into what inflation is today. So, like I said, people must either get paid more or simply understand the system at a fundamental level and execute based on the system and what the system allows. Because monetary systems operate independently of rhetoric, feeling, and emotion. You might think about your money, you might talk shit about what politicians should do, Trump, and all of these particular things, but finances, whether Clinton is the president, Obama is the president, you know, Nixon is the president. It runs a straight line through, right? It does not matter, right? The money is the money. The politics, the influence, the particular mind games is just to confuse people at a mass level. So once again, when we talk about money, we're talking about a matter of circulation, flow. When there is no air, there is no life. When there is no circulation, you will start to see countries and civilizations collapse.
Today, where Google and these other engine companies, the other tech companies, are trying to build artificial intelligence. The strangest thing that they found, one of the strangest things, is that the systems that they design, this artificial intelligence, which a lot of people have heard about, is they design a bunch of systems. They're called neural nets. Terms simply taken out of brain work, neurons in the brain. Nets because they actually look like a net. They put in some inputs. The computers work, spit out an answer. Sounds normal to you. It's because you're thinking about that calculator you had in 1976 on your desk. When you ask the person who designed the system, how did it come to that answer? How did your neural net, can you show me the calculations? They say, no, we don't know. We don't know how the thing we designed actually came up with that answer. That's pretty strange. They take the same neural net now and they put it in front of a video game. No learning, nothing. They said to the computer, they say, sit in front of your video game and learn how to play. It seems the computer learns better than any human in history, faster than any human in history, beats any human in history. But when you ask the designer how did it do it, no one knows. It just did it. So that's the first little touch of things that we already have gotten to a place where we don't understand it, and we built it.
So let's get into AI, calculations, and systems, and overall magic, right? Because what he is saying without saying is that we have progressed so far as a species that we have cultivated a magical apparatus right in front of us, to whereas if the answer is right or if the answer is wrong, we don't understand how it came to an answer in the first place. So if we can't understand or overstand and understand how it came to an answer, a person can install a Wi-Fi in your house and you ask them, well, how does this work? Can you reverse engineer it? You know what I'm saying? And do some other things with it. They're going to tell you, no, I can plug it into this box and I can plug it into this box and I can go to fuck home and collect my paycheck. So it's things that's happening on so many levels that humans are not even in control of, to whereas we must understand and understand magic is already at play. So when we talk about AI, calculations, and systems, AI and calculators operate on systems. So these systems, you can put in 77 times whatever, it come up with an answer. You're just gonna write that answer down. You're gonna get all you're gonna have them build your whole house off what the calculator say. You get the ruler. A ruler is a calculation used. If the ruler say it's a foot, then it must be a foot. But this ruler say that it's not a foot. This ruler say that your ruler off. Now we're gonna have ruler wars. And then is no such thing as truth in this world. But when you institute systems and calculations, it then becomes an actual fact that people will say, well, this calculator said it says 78. That way, we don't got nothing to argue about. And it's universal that the calculator say 78, and so 78 it is. Okay? So most people use AI, calculations, systems such as bank, magic. Most people use them and make them and design them and don't understand how it works. I'm sure the person that designed the Wi-Fi box could not tell me how Wi-Fi worked. He can buy the Wi-Fi transmitter, and install the Wi-Fi transmitter into a box, and then he's selling Wi-Fi systems. But the Wi-Fi transmitter gotta buy different parts from different places and put them together. And these different parts gotta do different things to get different parts from different countries to put shit together, all to make one thing. And then this person say, I can put all of these people together and create one product that the consumer can buy. And now we selling Wi-Fi systems or solar panels. Niggas definitely don't know how solar panels work because the sun creates that shit. We couldn't recreate or reproduce that. So what do humans do? We build systems. Then we rely on the system until the system falls, i.e., later in the conversation, they talk a lot about the 2008 crash. And I may or may not cover this. Just depends on like how y'all feel about this video, how y'all like the flow of this video. But yeah, I would look deeper into it. I just was like, you know, it was interesting to me. I don't know if it was interesting to y'all, but at the end of the day, when we combine structure and we can combine belief, we get power. And when you have power, you have some form of magic because magic outside of knowledge is undistinguishable to technology. So finally, what is the real magic? Real magic is a power of assuming the outcome. At the level of the banks felt like we can create a system where emperors give us their money. Think about that. The government of America relies on a central bank. The nigga that created the bank, man, that nigga is he was the one. Man, I'm gonna have the most powerful nations give me their money. And I'm not even going to save they shit, bro. I'm gonna flip they shit. I'm gonna make it legal. And they going, no, I'm taking they shit to the casino. Right? I'm about to take their money and buy my hoes all types of Louis Vuitton. When you look at downtown areas and you look at these goddamn places and they got all of these prices and you look at that shit, you like, damn, ain't no way I could afford no shit like that. Ain't no nigga. It ain't nobody hustling as hard as a nigga that understand the system, right? Ain't nobody saving up money like a nigga that understand the system that just walk up into Louis Vuitton and just buy everything because they understand the motherfucking system. That's a crazy ass thought, you know, to be a part of a banking family, right? And motherfuckers is giving you money, you taking that money and turn it into 10x. We going to Louis Vuitton tonight, fuck it, nigga. We buying all the Louis, all the Gucci. Imagine if fucking bankers was rappers, nigga. They would be popping the most craziest shit you ever heard of your life. Bought 7 yachts just to crash it, like just on some crazy shit, right? They ain't even know I'm doing magic. Like it's lit. The real magic is the power of organizing people that understand at the same level as you. So I imagine us to be bankers, good bankers. So think about how cold it is to create a system that takes over the world, that even governments be trying to mimic and replicate. Imagine Trump giving you $100 bill with his face on it. I'm gonna fucking cry. Trump said he gonna give you your kids $1,000 account. That's telling me you plan on being the president in 18 years from now. Or you think one of your natty ass kids is going like, bro, come on, bro. Niggas is going to cancel that Trump account as soon as they get goddamn what's her face? What's the chick name? Kamala Harris in there. It's going to be the Kamala Harris account. The real magic is building systems that work. Whatever we saying about the banking system, that shit work. The real magic is doing what others think is impossible. It's impossible. You can't even fathom billions of people feeling that once they get a job, once they get to money, the first thing they need to do is give it to your ass. Oh, I got to get a bank account. Oh, you got to get a bank account. Make sure you get a bank account. Make sure you get a bank account, bank account, bank account, bank account. And the bank just sitting there like, yeah, we're going to 10x this, 10x this, 100x this. So finally, magic is a structured execution that goes even beyond your imagination. So I challenge people to think outside of the box because the box is already outside. It's all Pandora's box is already open. You know, they putting fentanyl in cereal and things of that nature. It's just crazy out here in these streets. You know, um, like the ways of the world of niggas just living and doing whatever they want to do, it's already been established. Now, I imagine that you want to do good, but even if you wanted to do like you could do bad, you're gonna crash out really, really bad. But you know, do your thing. But if you really want to utilize a certain level of power of autonomy and control, utilize the example of the bank as a form of sincere money magic in its realest form because it's so foundational. It's so practical. It's like the most squarest, most anti-spiritual motherfucker, right? Nigga who look at me like, hey, you crazy as hell. He gonna have a bank account. And I'm like, look at you getting into the spiritual dark arts. You know what I mean? You into this shit just as I'm into this shit, right? So in conclusion, money is numbers. Numbers operate inside of systems. They are predictable, functional, applicable, and systems operate on belief, which are none of those things. So those who understand the systems can create the outcomes that other people call magic. So I just want to, have you think about things a little bit, give you some spiritual entertainment to start your day, to get those juices running, to make you start thinking about things in a magical perspective, especially in your reference to your finances. You know, it is tax time, and a lot of people is thinking about what ways that they can waste their taxes and things of that nature. But at the same time, let's think about how we could, you know, grow these montees that the government is giving us, uh, of our own money. But I digress. um, yeah, we could talk about this further. We could talk about this no more. Just let me know in the comments what you think about content like this. Thank you to our sponsors, Health is Wealth, Botanicals and Herbs, whiterabbitsite.com. We love you, appreciate y'all support. For those who want to donate, you can do so through Hood Mystic $38. This has been a daily energy reading transmission on the concept of money magic, including Jeffrey Epstein interview with Steve Bannon. Shout out to UD Freighter for his phenomenal work titled Money Magic. You can get that book on Amazon right now for under $20. With all that being said, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Stay magical. Stay on top of your shit. And with all that being said, I will catch y'all all on the flip side. Peace.